Hey guys, this is Blue Forest. I hope you're doing well. So I have now gone through the latest time slides, so the bot incursion, as they're now calling them, a bad name. I have now finished Prime, so I just wanted to give you a few tips. So in the first chapter, we have mini boss Dirge, and the boss is Jetfire. So all three of the mini bosses, Dirge, Windblade, and Grimlock, are on a mod that follows a similar principle. They get a big buff, which can be removed with debuffs. So Dirge is on a mod that gives them a big attack boost, and it can be removed, I believe, with Burn. But it's not a very difficult fight. It's pretty easy. I just used MV1 several times, so you shouldn't have too much trouble. And then Jetfire is on Adaptive, so he is tanky, and he's on a Power Flow mod, Power Flow Time. So if you have a power controller like Prowl, you'll do just fine. Even if you don't, just make sure that you're not attacking him when the mod is active, and he shouldn't give you too much trouble. So for the second chapter, we have the Windblade mini boss. She's on a power rate mod that can be removed with bleeds. I think I used Necro and Scorp. Also pretty easy, not difficult. Just be mindful of that power rate. And then Dinobot is a very easy boss, probably the easiest of the three. He's on trigger rate and evade ranged, so just be careful with those range shots. A melee-based fighter will certainly do well, and he should be pretty easy also. In the third chapter, we have the Grimlock mini boss and the Demotron boss. So Grimlock is a little bit tricky. It's a new mod, and it's pretty clever of Kabam because Grimlock is on this all resist mod, which gives him 85% resistance to attacks. It makes him crazy, crazy tanky. It can, however, be removed with shock. So if you have a good shock bot to use, definitely bring it because it will nullify the mod and you can nullify it over and over again. So I used Soundwave and Shockwave. Either of those two are great. You could bring a Ratchet, you could bring Blaster, you could bring Windblade and spam special ones, you could bring Kickback and do the same thing. So any bot that's going to apply shock over and over again will make the fight easier. If you don't have a shock bot, it's not too difficult. It'll just be a much longer fight. I did use OGP on one lane, and it was well over 100 hits, which is a lot for a time slide boss. You know, even things like Armor Break weren't really doing anything. So I do know that OGM is not going to be able to steal that buff from the mod. I don't think Cyclonus will be able to nullify it. So definitely plan on a shock bot if you can, and if not, just be prepared for a long fight. And then the Demotron boss, it's not too difficult, but he is on Energon Storm, which is kind of annoying, and there is an Energon Storm lane in the final chapter, so you do need to be mindful of that. So with Energon Storm, when you get a bar of power, it'll start landing shock on you, and it will increase the more power you have. It is quite a lot of shock damage, so you just need to be careful of that. You want to land a special 1 as soon as you can. If you're not able to, a special 2 and 3 will heal you to some degree, but just be very mindful of that. You know, shielded tech bots always do well against Demotron. You know, I was using Soundwave. I also use Shockwave. You could use Wheeljack. I think Blaster might be the best choice because you can apply interference over and over again, because Demotron is also on a ranged shock mod, so you got to be really careful with those ranged shots of his. And he's on evade melee. So if you're using a bot that has melee-based specials, you do not want to be trying to land those specials when that mod is active, because he's probably going to evade them, and then you're going to end up taking a lot of shock damage. You could also use a purifier like a Grim or TC if you get into trouble, and if all else fails, you could bring Tronus. He's basically immune to Energon Storm. I don't usually recommend cheesing it like that, but if you have a problem with Demotron, you could bring Tronus. Just have him sort of in reserve in case you need him to finish Demotron off. But overall, not too difficult. It is a little bit weird that we've had this Demotron final boss 2 times in a row, so hopefully they don't repeat that again. But by and large, not a very difficult time slide. Should not give you too much trouble. Just be particularly careful of that final chapter. Make sure you have somebody for both Grimlock and Demotron. But otherwise, I hope this has been helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any difficulty completing this at whatever difficulty you're doing. Take care of yourselves, and we will speak again soon.